I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Oh Lord, and I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh Lord, can you feel it coming in the air tonight? Oh Lord, oh Lord. Well, if you told me you were drowning, I would not lend a hand. I've seen your face before, my friend, but I don't know if you know who I am. I was there and I saw what you did. I saw it with my own two eyes. So you could wipe off that grin. I know where you've been. It's all been a pack of lies. And I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Oh Lord. Well, I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh Lord. I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Oh Lord. Well, I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh Lord, oh Lord. I remember, don't worry. How could I ever forget? It's the first time, the last time we ever met. But I know the reason why you keep me silent, so no, you don't believe. The hurt doesn't show, but the pain still grows. Some strangers to you and me. I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Oh Lord, well I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh Lord. We the best music. Another one. DJ Khaled.
Come with me, leave all of your things, yeah. We can stop at Gucci, stop at Louis V, yeah. Come with me, fly you out to Greece. Full speed, so volley Paris, yeah. Come with me, leave all of your things, yeah. We can stop at Gucci, stop at Louis V, yeah. Come with me, fly you out to Greece. Full speed, so volley Paris. Speedboats, baby.
Good evening, good evening. What is good?
You
guys, we're excited to be here. We got a special call lined up for you this evening. Listen, do me a favor, do you a favor, and get those last minute texts out to your guests, your new customers, anybody that you've exposed to this academy. We have the founder, the co-founder of Delorean Strategy, a living legend, Mr. Patrick Kenny, who is equipping, empowering average, ordinary people like you and me to become independent traders all over the world. Tonight, listen, access to the right information will change your situation and others' situations. So invite just one more person. Let's pack this call out. Let's get it going. We're going to get this call started in 8 more minutes.
She get chill. All the color, I kept it real. Like sweet baby, on a G-Way. I'll get you anything you need, baby. Work for everything you see, baby. Ooh, we, baby. Ooh, come on me. Leave all of your things, yeah. You can stop at Gucci, stop at Louis V, yeah. Come on me, fly you out the breeze. Full speed, so volley Paris. Come on me, leave all of your things, yeah. You can stop at Gucci, stop at Louis V, yeah. Come on me, fly you out the breeze. Full speed, so volley Paris. Falling, why you making problems? I've been silent, why you making problems? I'm a problem, being rich is now my fault. You decide who you think you should reside with. I've been quiet, hard to miss me when I'm flying. Going out to Keiko, she can stay in my room. She can stay in my room and it ain't mine. I was trying to play it right, I was trying to treat you nice. Funny how I understand. See me when I'm outside, we ain't have a problem. Then you went and found one. How you gonna get it back? She can't help but get attached. See me when you're outside, see me on the south side. I could tell you're sick inside, 'cause she just wanna love me. She don't wanna leave me. She didn't wanna love me.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're calling in from. We're about to get down to business here. In 6 more minutes, we're going to get this call kicked off with the one and only Mr. Patrick Kenny. Listen, do me a favor, down in the chat, shout it out loud and proud, represent. Where are you calling in from? Let everyone on the call know. While you're doing that, guys, go ahead and send out those last minute texts. Get this out in your group chats. This gentleman is creating independent traders all over the world in commodities, indices, crypto, you name it. What you guys are going to learn tonight, the basics. Like, if you're pumped up to learn how to multiply your money in the largest financial markets in the world here tonight, learning the basics from one of the best in the business, drop some 7s in the chat as I call out where you're calling in from. I'm excited for you. We see Phoenix, Nanaimo, Edmonton's in the house, Georgia's in the house, Oklahoma, the great state of Oklahoma, Dallas, Texas, what's good? Winnipeg's in the house, Costa Rica, welcome. Wyoming, welcome. Saskatchewan, San Diego, Sacramento, New Zealand, Kelowna, Edmonton, Rycroft, Alberta. Wow, I was just there like 2 weeks ago. Born and raised in Fairview. Down here in beautiful Panama City right now. We see you, Mexico. Puerta Adventurisa, welcome. Maple Ridge, New York, Alberta, Nanaimo, Charlotte, North Carolina, St. Pete, Florida, more from NYC. We ain't playing games. up in the NYC tonight, Saskatoon, Agora, California, Cochrane, Alberta. Sheesh! North America's got it covered, coast to coast, north to south. Where else you guys calling in from? Asia, we got you in the house. Australia, New Zealand, I saw some New Zealand earlier. India, where you at? England, where you at? We see you, Hawaii. This call out to the people you want to educate, empower, and enrich with this life-changing information. We see you, Tennessee, Kansas. Welcome to the call. Lake Cowichan, Vancouver Island, Randall, what's good? Hawaii, more from Hawaii. NYC and Hawaii is representing tonight. Abbotsford, welcome. Calgary, Georgia, Cozumel, Mexico's in the house. We got the one and only Delorean educator, Sloppy, in the house. What's going on, Joe? Costa Rica, more from Costa Rica, Edmonton, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. More from New Zealand. New Zealand wants to come and play. New Zealand wants to get their piece of the largest financial markets in the world. How about you? I love it, Darla. I'm streaming this on Facebook because the world, absolutely. This gentleman, Mr. Patrick Kenny, he's the co-founder of Delorean, which is educating and empowering and teaching people how to navigate the largest financial markets in the world, all over the world, all different sectors. Commodities, indices, crypto, Forex. Let's go. So high, you can feel my cup. We up all night until the sun comes up. It's in my mind until I had enough. You know I still believe in you and me. 'Cause every night I go to sleep, I can see it like a movie in my dreams. Putting my face in the dirt on the ground, till I raise up to take back the crown. Yes, you can break my body. You guys got less than 2 minutes. You got less than 2 minutes to pack this out. Hey, listen, if you guys have learned anything from Mr. Patrick Kenny, for those of you on the call, go ahead, drop some ones in the chat for Mr. Wick. But I'm relentless. I want the money, ain't never want attention. So I don't pay attention to comments and all the mentions, 'cause they ain't see my vision. I was washing dishes till my rags turned into riches. Glad when it was Christmas. We ain't even barely get presents, but we was gifted. In a school of failure, we present perfect attendance. Welfare, baby, we working with what they give us. Maybe some college judge still gave me a sentence. No period, city girls looking scared when it's really real when your bank account's 20 mil in your house. Up on the hill in your face, in the driveway you walk out and see the girl, thank God you believe. Make sure you pray when you kneel. I still believe in you. Guys, we're
started in 90 seconds. If you haven't done so already, continue to shout it out loud and proud. Represent down in the chat. Where are you calling in from?
My bank account, it was on super zero. Ain't never panic, I'm a superhero. Target my goals and I'ma shoot the arrow. When God turned the heat up on me, he said choose an arrow. Play your part. Got some brains like a scarecrow. Let's play it smart.
60 seconds to get those last minute texts out. Get this out in your group chats, guys. Let's pack this out. We have literally a living legend on this call tonight. This guy is helping create independent traders all over the world. You guys are going to learn the basics of what he's been teaching all of us, some of us for multiple years. I'm excited for each and every one of you on this call. I'm excited for the guests to get on this call.
Everything that's in my memory that I imagine is finally here. 100 million in a year.
All right. How you guys feeling out there? How you living? Oh my gosh, how do I get this thing off the screen here? 1 second. All right, I am super grateful that this gentleman has come to share with our community this evening. I'm just going to be real with you guys. We've been a part of an academy, an education academy that spans 180 countries all over the world. And this gentleman, he's a co-founder of a strategy called Delorean. And I can say that my wife and I and our leaders inside of this organization, we attribute a tremendous amount of our success to this gentleman and the strategy that he's created. He's helped create independent traders from people that know nothing about trading. I remember people that we introduced to this platform years ago that thought Forex was a country that are now independent traders today because of things that they learned from this gentleman. And so I'm excited for each and every one of you guys on this call this evening. I'm excited for your guests. If you're brand new, getting introduced, you don't know anything about trading, it's okay. Listen, most of us knew absolutely nothing about trading the largest financial markets in the world prior to getting introduced to this gentleman either, but you guys are in for a real treat. Patrick Kenny, like I said, he's a co-creator of a strategy that's helped educate, empower, and enrich average, ordinary people like you and I all over the world to learn how to navigate the largest financial markets in the world, whether it's commodities, crypto, indices, Forex. You guys are going to learn a little bit of everything tonight. So here's what I would do if I was you. I'm not you, but if I was you, this is what I would do. I would grab a notepad and a pen. We're going to give you another 10 seconds or so to do so, because I believe that access to the right information can absolutely change your situation. I also believe that all of life comes down to a few key defining moments. And if you sit up, pay attention, you come here to learn, this could be one of those moments for you and your family and your financial future. So with that, you guys go ahead and drop some love, drop some sevens in the chat for Mr. Patrick Kenny.
You're the man, Greg. Love you, brother. I always say it. You're one of those guys that every time I get on, I'm just excited because your group, your surroundings have always been very respectful and receptive to the knowledge and teaching, and always patient. And they let me do my thing for as long as I need to make sure everybody gets the point of the training. So I appreciate you. Thank you for having me on. Everybody, good evening. Monday evening. Hopefully the day has gone well, or maybe morning on Tuesday. Tonight I want to have a call that, of course, we discuss the DeLorean, and I want to discuss why it even exists. But before we do, I want to take a step back, and I want to do a brief segment called Money Mindset. And I don't even want to talk about trading for just a couple of minutes if you guys are cool with that. I just want to talk about money. How many of you guys can share with me in the chat an emotion that comes to mind, a thought that comes to mind when you hear the word money or finances? Maybe it's happiness, maybe it's stress, maybe it's excitement, maybe it's fear, maybe it's fun, whatever it is. Let's read some. Hesitation, hope, necessity, potential, fear, abundance, struggling, relief, oxygen, freedom, yacht, excitement. Notice everybody has a little bit of a different definition for money, and everybody uses it in a different way. And one of the pieces of advice that I would love to share before we start is I believe that a lot about success financially we're talking about. And financial success has nothing about success as a person. But financial success can lead to success in all areas of life. You can impact more people. You can help more people. You can help yourself. And if you can't help yourself first, how on earth are you going to impact other lives? And the way I think about money is I think back to in high school specifically. I always used to, every Friday night, I would have some friends come over and we would sit in my parents' basement and we would play a game that a lot of you guys have probably played. It was called Monopoly. And as you guys know, the goal of Monopoly is to pass go, buy properties, and gain revenue, if you will, off of the other folks' properties. Let me tell you a little bit of a story about this Monopoly round each Friday. Every Friday, I would play Monopoly with some of these guys, and you know, it kind of got repetitive and everybody had the same strategy. But one thing was certain. When we were playing Monopoly with these guys, all these guys, every time they reached a property, they were aggressive. They were buying the property. How many of you guys are like that? Give me a 1 in Monopoly. You want to buy up as much as you can. You're not trying to get your 200 when you pass go. You're trying to make your money when they're hitting your property. That's how a lot of people are. And it begs a question, and I've thought about this in a lot of different ways into why psychologically that is, but why is it that Monopoly we're so quick and so aggressive to make an investment and to do something that will yield us a return in the future, even though there's no result right away? Yet generally in life, 95% of people with their finances are not willing to put money away for the future. I begin today's call by not talking about trading. I begin today by talking about investing. Be so selfish that you think of yourself first for once in your life. What do I mean by that? I was just reading an article today. The average American is $8,000 in savings. If we were to go through a major geopolitical crisis, if we were to go through another massive wave of COVID, if the government weren't to bail us out, let's face it, the average American is done for within, give it 4 to 5 months. Now, this kind of is a morbid topic, but it brings a thought to my head. Why don't people invest? Is it that they don't have money? No, I don't believe that, because we can all invest with a few $100s. We can invest with $50. Heck, we could invest in fractional shares or on MT4 with margin with $25. So it's not money. I really believe it's knowledge. It's knowledge of understanding that if I were today to take $1,000 and I were to take it, instead of being in my savings account, and I were to then go buy 10 shares of something that cost $100, do I still have the same $1,000? Yeah, still have the same $1,000. It was just moved from my bank account to a brokerage account. So what makes it different? Well, here's the last thing I'll leave you with. This is how I always refer to this. Do you remember as a kid when you got scared? Do you remember when something made a noise under your bed or outside? What would you do when you were a kid? Generally speaking, you'd lift those covers over your head. Now, this may be a weird question, but did those covers do anything to you guys? Let's just say there was somebody actually out to harm you. Even today, you might do it. Heck, I might even be doing it still. If somebody was in Patrick Kenny's house to actually harm Patrick Kenny, would my covers do anything for me other than help my mentality for like 2 seconds? They would do nothing. Absolutely nothing. That's how most people are living their lives with finances. They are saving money as that blanket. Realize that if a true intruder came in their life, nothing would be there to protect them. That money would not last long. And look at the last couple of years. In the US, we're over 7% inflation. Unfortunately, those that saved money were the ones that were the real losers. The ones that put money in 2020 into really anything, from commodities to stocks to currencies to real estate to cryptocurrencies. Those are the guys and gals that ended up getting ahead to some extent. It wasn't the people that sat on their hands and didn't put money forward. I start tonight's call because I believe that that right there alone hopefully triggers somebody to say, I'm not saying enough is enough, but to say, I need to start to learn how to flip my mindset. Why am I so paranoid of losing money? Why am I in such a scarce mindset? What about me is not willing to put $25, $200, $500? Yet if my buddy called me this week and they said, let's go out to dinner, I would quickly spend $250 on dinner and drinks. We have to change our mindset. We have to understand we have to think of ourselves first. We have to invest first before we become consumers. So with that said, I want to give you guys another brief story. First of all, my name is Patrick. I'm originally from a small town of 30,000 people in Montana. I currently live in Scottsdale, Arizona. I've been trading currency and commodities, and then stocks a little less time, but I've been trading currency and commodities since 2014. I actually found trading July of 2014, which happened to be just 2 months after I graduated high school. Little did I know that, it would end up being something such, fruitful and so it would take me so many places and lead me to so many people. I didn't really know that at the time, but at the time, I was just a person that wanted to make some more money. My first business was a failed clothing line, as is many. My second business was actually successful. I used to trade shoes as a junior in high school, which meant I used to buy Jordan shoes, Yeezys, all these shoes that would sell out fast. I would buy the ones that were selling out for retail, and then I would resell them after they sold out for a markup of double or triple. That was my first trading, you would say. And then I started trading currency. And anyway, I get into college and I have a bartending job, and bartending is going well. You make some tips, working 3 days a week, going to college, getting my bachelor's in marketing, which I did fulfill. And through that time, what I found was in my trades, every night I got home, I missed the opportunities. How many of you guys that have traded for a while, you feel like, if you're busy at work or with your day, with your kids, whatever you're doing, you get back on the charts, you're like, dang, if I would have seen that opportunity at that time, I would have taken it. But since it's too late, it's too late. Hindsight's 2020. That's what was happening to me. I was getting home bartending at 11 o'clock, but I've been going since 6 a.m., getting up, getting to class by 8, doing class till 5 or 4, getting to work by 4:30 or 5:30, bartending till 10 or 11 at night. Guys, I didn't have much time, let alone to study, let alone to trade. And every time I'd spend 20 or 30 minutes to get on the charts, it was like, man, I see it. I can do it. But I'm not doing it. Why? Because I'm missing the opportunity. And that's when I started to look around for a developer. That's how the story starts. I found a guy on Google that was willing to put what was in my head into an algorithm that would send me a text. So I would get a text when a specific idea in the market happened, when a specific case of set values, an algorithm, would happen in the market. And that's how Delorean was born. Delorean was not built to be a product that's been used internationally by over 10,000 people. It wasn't built to be anything but for me. And it was for me from 2016 through 2017 through 2018. It wasn't until late 2018 when a man by the name of Christopher Terry called me and said, I need you to bring this onto my platform. And then it's taken me so many different places. My point is, it was given to bring my time back, but also be simple. Tonight's call is all about learning how to use this information. Give me a 1 in the chat if you've never heard about Delorean before. It's your first time seeing this. It's your first time seeing me. You've never heard about Delorean. So Nando, Aaron, David, Quinn, Stefan, Raul, and I mean, all the people, you know you're typing a 1. You're who I'm talking to tonight. My goal is to hopefully get you to see the market at least 10% of the way that I see it. And then by the end of the call, hopefully you can give me some feedback. So let's get into it. Delorean, what is it? Well, this is what it looks like, and we'll talk about it in some detail in just a couple of minutes, but it's a simple interface. On the right side is your alert panel. You can click all those alerts to open up different charts. Everything's set up for you. The point is it's all set up for you. It's all on the web. So I could have it in my Tesla, on my cell phone, on my laptop, on your iPad, on a TV, whatever. Whenever you can access Google from, you can access Delorean from. No need to download anything or anything crazy. And once you have it, it's going to have all these features already set up for you. And when we start, I want to first by giving you some analogies and some ideas, but the first thing I want to give you is just blue arrow. You're going to see a blue arrow on your chart, or you're going to see a red arrow on your chart. Now, what does a blue arrow mean? A blue arrow means you're going to look to buy. So how would I describe this? Buying is buying a stock at $100 a share, and it goes up to $130 a share. Did you make money? Yeah. You had a 30% return. You made $30 a share. That's buying. And what I'll come and refer to that as, if you're writing notes, is going long. Long means buying. It means you make money when the chart goes up. Also, on the flip side, there's a sell. Now, a sell is commonly referred to as going short. Some of you guys, give me a 2 in the chat if you've ever heard or watched the movie called The Big Short. The Big Short was a movie about a group betting on the real estate market to crash prior to 2008. And they were betting against the market, meaning if the market went down, they would make money. It's actually a fantastic movie. It's very interesting. And the point is, guys, is going short in the market and currency is the same idea, except for you're not betting against anything because you always have a currency pair. You always have one pair against another. So you're always buying one and selling the other. But the point is, when you're looking to sell, it means you make money when the market drops. It's a common misconception in the universe with financial literacy and education that you can't make money when the market drops. It's completely false. You can make money when the market drops. In the stock market, it just happens to be much more dangerous, because when the market drops in, say, a stock, whether it be Apple or Amazon or Google or Tesla or whatever it is, you're betting against the company. You're trying to make money when they fail. With currency, it's a whole different ballgame because you're a currency pair. It's one versus another. So one always has to be beating out the other. It's like 2 teams. So you're never having a situation where you're betting on something to fail. You're just betting on one to do better than the other. So selling is just going to be a red arrow, and it means you make money when the market drops. Now, what's important is that we follow a 4-step process, and it's very simple. Type this in the chat, write it in your notebooks, write it on your arm, whatever you got to do to remember it. It's BCLS. BCLS, and it stands for Bigger Cut Location Space. Now, I've given you no context as to what this means just yet, but just remember, bigger, cut, location, and space. Okay, now what does this mean? Let's develop this. Well, as we begin to develop this idea, I first want to recognize that every single time you get an arrow, you're just going to focus on the 2 candles to the left of the arrow. And I'll explain what a candle is in a minute, but write that down. You're going to focus on 2 candles to the left of the arrow. Who's ready to hit the charts and take a look at this and see if you can implement this? So this is the panel. Let's just zoom out for a minute, get yourself acquainted. Now, the first thing I want to recognize again is the top left corner. It says GBP CAD. GBP CAD. How many of you guys could go find yourself a CAD, we call it, a CAD, we call it, a Canadian dollar, whatever you want to call it? How many of you guys can go find one right now? It's up in your kitchen. It's next to you. It's in your wallet. How many of you guys can go find one right now? How many of you guys can go find a pound right now? Okay, all these people. Now, what's important to understand is that in currency, you're putting one against the other. Imagine it's 2 different teams. GBP is the blue team. CAD is the red team. Let me say it again. GBP is the blue team. CAD is the red team. When the GBP is stronger than the CAD, the market goes blue and it goes up. Vice versa. when the CAD is stronger than the pound, when the CAD is stronger than the GBP, the market turns red. The candles turn red. It drops. Okay? So you've got pound, CAD. Now let's zoom in. Type in the chat. Based off the arrow you see, are we looking to buy or sell? Now, we just learned that a minute ago. When you see a red arrow, as you can see bright and clear right there in the middle, you're looking to sell. Now, just a minute ago on that chart, it said, look at the what to the left of the arrow? It said, look at the two candles to the left of the arrow. How many of you guys like candles? I'm talking about the real ones. How many of you guys like those candles? They smell good. I got them all over my house. I'm a fiend for candles, if you didn't know that. I love candles. Now, I'm going to put it in candle terms. How do you light a candle? How do you light it? What do you light? What do you light? What is that thing called that you light? It's called a wick. Okay. Might have phrased that question wrong, but yeah, you light the wick. Now, I want you to imagine that that blue item you see on screen is a smelly candle in your kitchen. Okay. The little line on top and the little line on bottom. Can anybody take a guess on what we call those? We call those wicks. Now, in the middle, what would you call that with the real candle? You would call that the what? Well, technically, you'd call it the wax, right? But it's the body of the candle. So you've got the body of this candle sitting on your counter, your table, your bedroom, wherever it is, and you've got the wick. Is everybody following so far? You have to understand those two. There's the difference between a body and a wick. Wick is the lines, and it doesn't matter if it's above or below, they're all wicks. Doesn't matter the color, they're wicks. And the body is the color. Now, what do we focus on? How many to the left of the arrow? We focus on the two candles to the left of the arrow. That means we focus on this red one with that little wick on top. We focus on this blue one with the wick on the top and the bottom. Everybody following? All right, that's the hard part. If you're with me so far, I'm glad to tell you made it through the hard part. Now the easy part comes. We just have to answer ourselves a few questions. Let's go. Now, don't get confused with all this on screen. Frankly, you only need the 4 red boxes. But let's just start at the top left corner and read step number 1. It says, look at the 2 candles to the left of the arrow. Is the red candle bigger than the blue? Now, we're talking about the candle bodies. Look at the 2 candle bodies to the left of the arrow. Is the red candle body, the wax, bigger than the blue? Simple. Yes or no answer. Let's hear it in the chat. All right. All right, good. So the crew's with me so far. Yeah, and if you can't see that, I want you to look at the bottom of the blue. Do you notice how the bottom of the red is deeper than the bottom of the blue and the top is the same? The red one's bigger. All right, good. So let's move on to step number 2. Now, step number 2 says, does the red line cut through both, all caps, both, don't miss that, candle bodies? But wait, what did we just talk about? What's a candle body? Let's read it again. Does the red line cut through both candle bodies? Does the red line cut through both candle bodies? Yes or no? The red line represents the 13 exponential moving average. What does that mean? That is an exponential moving average of the last 13 candles. All of these lines on your chart just represent different moving averages. Your yellow is your 5, your red is your 13, your aqua on screen is your 50. The gray on your screen is a 200. I want you to think about that really in terms of like if you're taking a high school or college class. If you only had 13 exams over the course of a semester and you failed one, and then your other teacher did 200 exams, God forbid, over the course of a semester, which one, if you failed, would have more of a detrimental impact? Oh, the one that had 13, you had less shots. It's no different than anything. So the higher the number, the smoother the line looks. We pay attention to the 13 because I'm sure you can all see visually, the charts like to come up to the 13 and then continue. You see that? So the second question is, does the red line cut through both candle bodies? We need to see that happen before we move on to step 3. Now, step 3, we get into the next, and this one is a little bit more complex, but don't let it go over your head. Let's just read it. Is the gray, aqua, or blue line, okay, the gray, aqua, or blue line closely above the 2 candles or cutting through them? Is the gray, aqua, or blue line closely above the 2 candles or cutting through them? Is the gray, the aqua, or the blue line closely above the 2 candles or cutting through them? Yes or no? Now, second part to this question, if you're answering yes, I want to know why. Why are you answering yes? What colored line is making you answer yes? Yeah, the aqua. That's the aqua. Now, there's a darker blue you don't see on screen. We'll see it in a bit, but that's the aqua. Now, that's right there above it. Okay, good. You got step number 3. How are we feeling so far? We following? I know it's only the first example, so I don't care if you don't fully get it, but are we all right? Okay, good. Let's go to step number 4. Now, notice we got yes, 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 and yes. Or yes, yes, and yes. Sorry, 3 yeses. Can anybody just take a jab at if we got any no's, what would happen? Well, if you get any no's, you stop analyzing. You stop analyzing completely. You move on to the next trade. Okay? You just stop. You move on to the next. But since we got 3 yeses in a row, we're going to go to step number 4. What does it say? Now, step number 4 is more of a reassurance. So notice the question there. Make sure the gray, aqua, or blue lines are not closely below price. So we have to say, yes, I made sure the gray, aqua, or blue line are not closely below price. All right. Did we make sure the gray, aqua, or blue line is not closely below price? Now, where's price? Price is the arrow. Is the gray, aqua, or blue line closely below it? Did you make sure that it was not closely below it? Did you make sure? So do we have a yes or no to step number 4? Yeah, I don't see anything right below the arrow, do you? This will be very obvious. It'll be right there below the arrow. And I'm gonna also dive in. So if you have any questions about that, I'm gonna dive into some more examples. So that'll be clear. But just for this example, you guys see how much space is under the red line? All the way down here is the gray line. We'll talk about it in a bit. How far down is good and how far up is too close. We'll talk about that, okay? But you've just gone through your first example. So first of all, I want to commend you on it. Second of all, I want to ask, how are you doing? All right, good. Now, what I would like to do at this point is I would like to actually develop a little bit more on this example right now. How many of you guys know what the 3 elements of a trade are? There's 3 elements of every trade. I don't care what market you're trading in. There's three elements. You didn't get a no, Brandon. You got a yes. It said, did you make sure? Did you make sure? Yes or no? Did you make sure? We got a yes. We made sure. What are the 3 elements of every trade, guys? Let me know. You have your entry, where you enter the trade. You have your stop loss, Meaning if the trade goes against you, at what point do you automatically have it pull out and you have it take profit, which means the good thing. If the trade goes for you, it automatically pulls you out in profit. Those are the three elements of a trade: entry, stop loss, target. Entry, stop loss, take profit. You could say target or take profit interchangeably. Just take a jab at this. Where do you guys think our entry is? As a beginner, where do you think your entry would be? Yeah, your entry would be where the arrow is. The arrow is telling you where to enter. So the arrow populated and this candle began. It's telling you to enter at the beginning of the candle, which would be right here. That's your first element. That part's not very hard, is it? You just have to know it just populates on your chart. In real time, it'll populate. You have to follow your 4 steps. If you pass your 4 steps, there you go, you enter. Somebody asked in the Q&A panel, it said, if we miss a trade when it first notifies us, how long do you have to enter a trade? That'll be discussed in just a little bit. But you enter the trade on the arrow. Now the stop loss has all to do with what we just discussed a minute ago. The stop loss is if things go bad. If you're trying to sell, what direction is bad? Up or down? If you're trying to sell, up is no good, right? Up is bad. So if the market were to go up, where would you put your stop loss? Does everybody remember just about 10 minutes ago, I said, look at the 2 candles to the left of the arrow? You put your stop loss above the 2 to the left of the arrow. You put your stop loss right here, just right above it. See where my mouse is hovering, guys? Everybody see where my mouse is hovering? You put your stop loss just right above the 2 to the left. That is your stop loss. Now, I want to develop an even deeper understanding of this on step number 3. You guys see where it says this? Right here, EMAs assisting you with your stop loss. You also see where it says EMAs are going to be beneficial to your stop loss. Is it your friend or your enemy? Now, I want you to understand something. These EMAs, all of these colors, they all act as a level of resistance or support. Resistance is when the market comes up and it hits something, inevitably right here, it hits something, then it just starts to drop. That's called resistance. It's like a ceiling. Support is when the market comes down to a level like right here, and it's like a floor, it like bounces. So these EMAs react at those are those levels. EMAs act like that. You see how the market came up to the aqua and it kind of stopped? You see how the market went down to the gray and it kind of bounced? Those are acting as support and resistance. Now, the question I beg on number 3, on step number 3, is if your stop loss is right here, is that aqua line your friend or your enemy? What do you think? Just take a jab, even if you don't know what I mean, because I'll elaborate. Is it your friend or your enemy? Yeah, see how many people are posting friend? It's obviously your friend. Why would it be your friend? Because your stop loss is up here, meaning if the market gets up here, you'll get stopped out. But the aqua line is below the stop loss, meaning if price moves up, it's going to hit the aqua first. Simply put, if the market pulled back against you, would it hit the aqua first or your stop loss? It would hit the aqua. Right there, what I just said is so crucial to your success. Answer me this one question on step number 3, and you'll forever be able to get the correct answer. If the market were to pull back, would it hit, and you're going to have a gray, an aqua, or a blue line around this area? In this case, it's aqua. You're not going to ask, is the gray, aqua, blue line above the 2? You don't have to even do that. If the market were to pull back, would it hit my aqua, gray, or blue before hitting my stop loss? Yes or no? Oh, it would? Oh, it is my friend. It's helping me. Pass instantaneously. You have a pass. That right there, my friends, is how you can develop an understanding of step number 3 within 15 minutes. Now, step number 4, we can also elaborate on a little more. I told you I'd slow it down now after we got through the beginning. So take a look at this. Look at this. Did we make sure? We all made sure. Everybody remember we made sure on step number 4? But we just talked about a minute ago, there's 3 elements to a trade. We've talked about the entry, that's at the arrow. We've talked about the stop loss, that's above the 2 to the left in this case. But let's go to step number 4. Read that box. Are the EMAs helping you make the proper risk to reward ratio? Needs to be at least 1 to 2. What does that mean? Well, if my entry's here and my stop loss is here, I want you all to take a wild jab at where we would target. Where would our take profit be? Yeah. The first step is understanding that if you answer on step number 4 and it says is the gray, aqua, blue line, you're looking at how close it'll be and you see one of them, the first one you have and the first one you see, that'll be where you take profit. What this means is your goal on step number 4, once you see that, is all you want to do is make sure that your risk is half of your reward. Or your reward is double your risk. Now, based off of visual, if you were to enter right here on the arrow and your stop were to be right above the 2 to the left, do you have a 1 to 2 risk reward ratio? Does it look like there's double the space? Yes. That's your goal, folks. Let's continue because I have many more examples and I don't want to get too caught up on just one. Let's just do it again. Just continue to do this. Do we have a buy or a sell based off what you see here? Now, if it's a buy, do you make money when the market goes up or down? Yeah, you make money when the market goes up. Catch that for a second. Everything I just taught you a minute ago, are we doing the same thing or does everything just reverse? Everything just reverses, guys. So let's take a look. Step number 1 says, notice it's a new sheet, by the way. Top left corner is where I'm reading. Look at the 2 candles to the left of the arrow. Is the blue candle bigger than the red? Now, this one's tight, and you probably have to zoom in to get all the way down there. I'm not trying to trick you here. Is the blue candle bigger than the red? Yes or no? Now, I understand if you're on a phone, you probably are like, Patrick, I can't tell. I'll tell you right now, yeah, it is. It's slightly bigger. And of course, on the chart itself, not a PowerPoint, you're going to be able to click this magnifying glass and then click and drag, and you can zoom in. So you can always tell. You never have to worry. But we get a yes on step number 1. Let's go to step 2. Step 2 says, does the red line cut through both candle bodies? Simple, yes or no. Does the red line cut through both candle bodies? It certainly does. Now, step number 3 says, is the gray, aqua, or blue line closely below the 2 candles or cutting through them? Yes or no? Is it closely below the 2 candles or cutting through? Yes or no? And if you're answering yes, what color is making you guys say yes? Why are you saying yes with such certainty? Okay, the aqua, good. Now answer me a question. Just so you guys can see it visually, I've already drawn out the stop loss and take profit in this example. Now we'll get to you can see the entry, it's at the arrow. That's that. Take a look at the stop loss. Now look at the stop loss. Is the aqua my friend or my enemy? Is the aqua my friend or my enemy? Yeah, it's my friend. Why would you guys say enemy? In what way? My stop loss is below the aqua, meaning if the market were to pull back, would it hit the aqua first or my stop loss first? It would hit the aqua first. So it's acting as a level of what? We just talked about it, support or resistance. It's acting as a level of support. Now, it never got back to that level and never needed to be used. But the point is it's there, so you get a step number 3. Now, somebody said, hey, I'm confused on cutting through. Okay, step number 2 is actually the easiest step, so don't overthink this. Look at the 2 candles to the left of the arrow. Let's just start there. Then find the bodies of the candles. Everybody with me so far? The bodies are the what? The wax, the big, colorful, chunky blocks. Now, based off what you see, you ask yourself, does the red line quite literally come in one side, exit the other, come in one side, exit the other? Does it cut through both? Yes or no? That's all it is, guys. Now, if it doesn't do that, then the answer is no. And yeah, to your question, this is just an example on the 1 hour. You can do this on the 5-minute, 15-minute, 30-minute, 1 hour, 4 hour, and daily. Now getting on to step number 4. It says, make sure the gray, aqua, or blue lines are not closely above price. Make sure the gray, aqua, or blue lines are not closely above price. Did we make sure? Yes or no? Wait a minute, but wait a minute, but wait a minute, Pat. I know somebody's just not willing to type this question out, but wait a minute, Patrick. Where's the aqua? Where's the gray? Where's the blue? Well, my question to you is, did you make sure they're not closely above price? Now, Dimitri, I do this every single call, so you're my friend tonight, all right? There's always one person that finds this example, and you were just the first one to make the comment. And they say, but Patrick, they're not above price. Okay, you're thinking a little too hard. Make sure the gray, aqua, or blue lines are not closely above price. Did I make sure? I made sure. It doesn't matter if they're on Neptune, doesn't matter if they're on Mars, doesn't matter if they're in Guatemala. They're not above price. But wait, last example, you said your take profit was the line above you or below you. Didn't you, Patrick? I sure did. And that's a good point. Whenever you do have a scenario like this, where you get the colored arrow, and you do have one of those lines above or below you, in this case, it's below you, that means you have what's called a counter trend trade, and you target the EMA. Whenever you find an example and none of them are above you, that's because they're all below you. You are with the trend, my friend. Did you know that these are the highest probability trades that Delorean can offer? So how do you set up a take profit? Well, to do that, all I ask is that you zoom out on your chart. So let's zoom out. Now, this is the same example, just zoomed out, so don't get confused. This, same as this. Now, I just zoomed out. And when I zoomed out, what I did is I looked to the left. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to see, in this case, you have GBP AUD. GBP's team color is what? GBP's team color is what? It's blue. AUD, or the Aussie, their color is what? It's red. Now understand one thing if you're taking notes, which by the way, let me know in the chat if you are. History repeats itself on the markets. History tends to repeat itself. The markets get kind of seasoned to ideas. So what I want to do is let's take the charts out of it. Let me take a sports analogy here. Now, if you had a sports team and that sports team lost 55-5 in any sport, I'm just saying a number, in January, and they have to have a rematch in May. What team are you taking in the rematch if the first game was 55-5? What team are you taking if you're a betting person? Yeah. You're going to bet that the first team, that first game, unless there's a wild anomaly, you're going to take the odds that they're going to win. Now, why do I say that? Well, think about the charts that way. The blue team versus the red team. When the market got to this price level right here where I'm hovering my mouse, what team dominated right then and there? What team won? The red, right? Not GBP. Boom, it crashes. AUD wins. You mean to tell me it took 3 of the GBP candles and only 1 of AUD? Red dominated once we got up to this point. Now, I understand if you were guessing way over here. I'm saying right here at the tippy top, who won that battle? The red. So once we get back to that price level again up here, what do you guys think could happen? Take a guess. Do you think the red team could come back for a vengeance at that level again? That right there is a quick synopsis of what we call support and resistance. So why do you guys think the top of my take profit, which is the top of that green level, sits right here? Take a guess as to why it sits there. Because I'm a betting man, but I'm not going to bet that the red team's going to lose in this battle. I don't want to bet that it's going to go way up here. Does everybody see that? Give me a 1 if you understand that. History repeats itself. That right there is a second example of a Delorean trade on the buy side. Now let's get into some more advanced stuff. Now we have a 3 candle rule and then we're going to get back to it, okay? 3 candles means if you're not in profit in 3 candles or less, you pull out. So somebody earlier said, if I get an alert, how long do I have to enter? I told you that we would get there. Here we are. So above candle number 1 is kind of like that first example we saw. That's where your red arrow would be. So let's say you enter where my mouse is. You enter the trade. This is the same, wherever the candle is and the arrow is. The arrow and the candle, that's candle number 1. Then we have candle number 2. The market comes back up. You're actually negative. Then candle number 3 comes all the way down here. Simple question for you. Do we pull out? Yes or no? We are selling. No, we don't pull out because we're in profit in that case, because we were selling. We make money when the market drops. It is simple. If you're in the money at the time that the 3rd candle closes, you do not pull out. You stay in the trade. So yes, Delorean has 5-minute alerts. Yes, it has 15-minute, 30-minute, etc. All you do is multiply the time frame you see on the top left corner of your screen right here. You multiply that number by 3. 1H stands for 1 hour. You multiply it by 3. See right here, the blue candle, that's candle number 1, 2, 3. At the end of 3 candles, were we in profit? Yes or no? Yes, we were. So we don't pull out. Good. My point is, all you do is multiply your time frame by 3. Furthermore, when you get an alert on Delorean, you must enter on the same candle as the arrow. Meaning you can't log in 6 hours later and the chart's way up here and say, oh, it looks like it passed the 4 steps, I'm going to enter now. No. The trade's already over. You have to enter the same candle as the arrow. If the candle is already passed, you just have to wait for the next alert. I can't guarantee much in life, but I can guarantee a couple things. Death, taxes, and more Delorean alerts. That's for certain. There will always be another one. The market's not going anywhere and Delorean's not going anywhere. So with that said, here's what this looks like as well. We already talked about the stop loss. That was a good one. Even I got Greg to give an LOL. That was a good one. I know I hit that one. Okay, look at the stop loss. We already talked about stop loss to the left of the arrow. We talked about the stop loss below to the left of the arrow. Everybody good on the stop loss? We're all good there? Stop loss is fairly easy. You just put it below or above depending on the direction. Now, what's important to understand is that there's certain circumstances, and about the majority of the time, that when you get an arrow, the market actually pulls back against you for the time being. The market's going to pull back against you. That's when you're red. That's when you get anxiety. That's when you're worrying. So check this out. There's one advanced move, and if you're just beginner, maybe you kind of tune me out, but maybe you listen and try to understand it. Now, I didn't name this the Patrick Push. They all named this after me, but in reality, I just call this the advanced entry. All this means is everybody remember we have the yellow and red line on the chart, excuse me. All this means is when you got that red arrow on that first example, instead of entering right when the arrow showed up, majority of the time the market's going to pull back to the yellow line. All that means is you wait for the market to pull back around the yellow line. That's when you enter. Why is that important? It doesn't increase your accuracy. It won't increase your win ratio. Why do you guys think that's important? Well, what it just did is that effectively just rose your entry, i.e. now you have a smaller stop loss. There's less risk. Furthermore, what would that do for your reward? If you have the same target, you have the same stop loss, just a different entry. Oh, wait, I have less risk, more reward. You have a better shot of getting that 1-to-2 risk reward ratio. Really nice job tonight, guys. You guys are amazing me tonight. Really nice job. So take a look at this based off what we just talked about. Remember this first example? Now do you see how the market pulls back and you're trying to wait for the market to get to that area between the yellow and the red? Anywhere in there, it's a little bit higher on this one. See how it pulls back? You could have had a slightly better entry. Now, I'm not saying enter off the aqua. I would never stretch to that. But you're entering right here where the arrows are between the red and the yellow. Somewhere in that zone, we'll call it, is where you'd look to enter. Somewhere in this zone in here is where you look to enter. My point is, do you see how that wick pulls back? That stands for the market went up. You're actually negative there. You're getting a little bit of a smaller risk and more of a reward. Now, just to make sure for my sanity that you guys are understanding this, if your stop loss was 10 pips, what does your minimum reward have to be in order to pass step number 4? Yes, it has to be 20. It has to be 20. If it's 30, is that okay, or do we scrap it? If it's 50, is that all right? Okay, you guys think it's okay? But what if it's 10? What if my risk is 10, my reward is 10? No, that's a 1-to-1. That's a 1-to-1. A 1-to-1 risk reward ratio is what most of these traders that you'll watch, you can go Google like how to trade on YouTube. You get some interesting answers, to say the least. One of the things they'll say is, oh, you got to have a 1-to-1 risk reward ratio. Well, if it's a 1-to-1 risk reward ratio, you have to win more than you lose. The most successful hedge fund managers in the world win 41% of the time. So if the best in the world are unable to win more than they lose, then what makes you and me believe that we could do any different? I'm not going to take that bet. So we have to have a risk reward ratio at least 1-to-2, if not 1-to-3. That way we can lose more than we win and still make money. That's what makes this investing, not gambling. And that's the difference between true professional investors right there and amateurs. You might be brand new. That doesn't mean you're not thinking in a professional mind. So now you're starting to see it. Where is my stop loss? Where is my entry? Where is my target? Now, if you looked at this as an example, notice for those of you guys that are asking about different time frames, take a look at this. Anybody notice that time frame? 5 minutes. This helps those people that have no patience. So if you were to look at this based off the arrow, are we looking to buy or sell? We're going to go faster this time. No chart, no cheat sheet in our head. We're looking to sell, you all said. Step number 1 says, look at the 2 candles to the left of the arrow. Is the red candle bigger than the blue? Yes or no? Yeah, this one's, I mean, shoot, we can all see that one, right? Step number 2 says, does the red line cut through both? Yes or no? Step number 3, this one's real easy. Is the gray, aqua, or blue line closely above or cutting through? Oh my gosh, we got gray and aqua, Patrick. Look up. Notice how it's hitting them. Notice how you put your stop loss above the wick. If the market were to pull back, which God forbid it did, is the aqua and the gray my friend or enemy? It's my friend. You want that to happen. And I don't think I have the screenshot of this one, but can anybody just take a wild guess as to why my target was that low? Just take a wild guess at what I did. Zoomed out, looked left at previous structure. The team was beat. History repeats itself, and I don't want to mess with history. By the way, take a look at the target. You see that? Notice how the market came down, and closely after it started to bounce up. It's because history started to repeat itself. Yeah, we're on the same time frame. This is the 5-minute time frame, which means if you're on the 5-minute time frame and you enter the trade, how many minutes do you wait to check if you're in profit? Yes, 15 minutes. Good job, guys. And can I wait 15 minutes to enter the trade? No. You have to enter on the same candle as the arrow. In this example, take a look at the blue. Blue bigger than the red, red cutting through both. Aqua. Notice in this example, you guys might argue, well, Patrick, I would have put my stop loss below the 2 to the left. That's fine, then you don't have a trade. But notice what I did. I put my stop loss where? Anybody notice what I did? This is an advanced tip. I made sure my stop loss was below the aqua. Now, if it stretches too far, I just don't do it. Risk reward, all those sort of things. The point is making sure that you understand the placement. Guys, within minutes, I watched a lot of you guys go from Patrick, I don't know what Delorean is, to some of you guys commenting, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm understanding this. Within minutes, you guys are identifying some profitable setups. Now, I'm not guaranteeing anything. It's going to take some time and practice. But understand one thing. This market is a market that you can statistically have an advantage if you follow some of these rules that we're talking about with your risk to reward. Some people in the public eye view this as gambling. Others don't. I don't view trading or investing as gambling. The reason I don't is that when I have an entry point, I know that my risk is half of my reward. Can anybody find me when you guys go to Vegas? Can anybody find me some sort of gambling table or machine that you know every time you hit that button, your risk is half your reward? Does anybody have that? No, it doesn't exist. I wish it did, or I'd quit trading and just go do that all day. But you can't. That is why trading is true investing. It's not gambling. I want you guys to imagine practicing this for even 1 month. How would that impact your trading? What would that do for your trading? Maybe what would that do for your initial time trying to trade? Greg and myself and Ty and Richard and all these people, a lot of these people are inside of an exclusive academy. How many of you guys are inside of our exclusive academy? Give us a 1 in the chat. This is the first academy of its type. Before this academy was born and before it was founded, you had to go to school to become a financial advisor, or you had to have somebody manage your money that you didn't trust, or you had to go to college or go into a trades art school. You had to go do all this stuff to understand how to manage your own money. And for the first time, something was founded for people to understand how to manage their own money. Would you guys trust you more with your own money, or a stranger you just met that says, yeah, we'll get you some results? Now, I understand that you might not trust yourself yet, but over time, you should begin to do so. I want to give a huge shout out to Greg and his team for allowing me the opportunity again. Every time, it's such a pleasure to work with you and the squad, and I hope that they enjoy it. Furthermore, guys, if you're inside of our academy and you're not yet a part of the Pro Pack allows you to have access to the DeLorean. It also allows you to have access to a lot of other great strategies all in one bundle. You guys can find me on Instagram as PKennyFX. So I'll give it back to Greg. Greg, thanks again, man. I appreciate it.
Amazing. You guys go ahead and drop some sevens in the chat for Mr. Patrick Kenny, PK for short. PK, thank you again. Obviously, consistently investing in us. And honestly, what I said at the beginning of the call, I meant it. It's like a lot of the success that we've had inside of the academy, a lot of the success that the independent traders inside of our community, in our organization, a lot of it is owed to you. And so grateful for you, grateful for your strategy. And absolutely, for those of you guys that are already a part of the academy, I want to encourage you, if you're not a Pro Pack member already, you definitely want to be a Pro Pack member so you can get access to PK and Tyrone and Sloppy and all the DeLorean educators. Right now, I want to take a minute and just introduce to you guys a gentleman. My wife said my hair looked good. I don't have any hair anymore. We'll put the hat on.
You look great.
We're playing. Anyways, I want to introduce you guys to Tycho. DJ Tycho, Tyler Collins, came into this academy a couple of years ago. And correct me if I'm wrong, Tyler, but I think that DeLorean was your first strategy. Is that right? That you dove into?
Actually, no, I was doing pivots before.
Okay.
But,
Okay.
I mean, I was trading for a while before this, but
Yeah.
didn't really have any strategy. I was just all over the map, up, down, yeah, left, right. Just never had any consistency.
What happened for you? What happened for you when you got access to DeLorean and you got access to PK and the DeLorean strategy? Just so you guys know that, Tycho's been able to, I don't want to say retire, but he's been able to become a full-time trader, move out of China, Canada, and he's been able to move down to Costa Rica and really living his dreams. But he's trading a lot of different commodities, indices. I see him crypto. He's become an investor as well. But I know that DeLorean and PK were a major catalyst to that. He always tells me how much he admires PK and everything that he's done for him. So, Tyler, if obviously, share with everybody why you believe that, for the people that are already in the academy, why they should be following PK, why they need to be a Pro Pack member. And then obviously, more importantly, because there's a lot of guests on this call, there's a lot of people that know nothing about trading, just like you and I did prior to getting exposed to it. Just what would you say to these people? You know what I mean? Because, it's new information, they're being exposed. You just share some of your journey. Like if there was anything you could do to encourage or inspire people to go on this journey, to learn how to multiply their money in the largest financial markets in the world, what would it be?
Well, I mean, if none of you know me, I'm Tyler. I was just in the entertainment industry, and I was, I had an agency across Canada. I was DJing at music festivals. I had a radio show, 2 radio shows actually. I was DJing for the NHL and the NFL. And then all of a sudden, boom, pandemic hit. And everything that I had, 6 businesses, all paused. And I was like, how could that, I owned all the businesses. So I never thought that I would be unemployed because all the businesses were thriving and I was doing really, really well. And it quickly really made me realize that doesn't matter if you have a successful business. If your clients go out of business, then you're not getting it. You're still not going to have any work. So, I mean, I really dove into this. I was really skeptical about. I had trading experience before, and I spent a lot of money on my trading school. Spent close to about $10,000 US for the 3 trading courses that I took. And I still I had no idea about risk management. And one of the things about DeLorean is that PK already said, you literally have risk management built into the steps, which is so, so important when you were getting involved in trading, is to make sure that you're risking $1 to make $2. One of the things I didn't have was structure. And then one of the things as well is that when you get into Delo, PK is on 4 days a week and he's sharing with you fundamental knowledge. He's you can tune in with him and he's going over the charts. He's going over one of his different strategies too, called the purple zone. It's just a trend-based Fibonacci, which also really, you know, it saved my ass. I was I was in a really bad place financially when I first started getting back into this. And within 4 months of me and my girlfriend, you know, really trading and like studying hard, we're like, you know, between that and marketing, we were like, we're good to leave the country. And we, you know, we got on a plane, moved to Costa Rica. I took right before COVID, I took out this huge loan for a property here. I was going to build a hotel, and then hospitality just like shut down too. So it was like, everything was just a big panic for me. And I literally put myself through the training and all of, you know, PK's favorites that you have access to when you join. And then you know, Tyrone's favorites, going down the rabbit hole with some of like the vectors and all that stuff. And yeah, I mean, I was starting to make a consistent income, paid off all the things that I needed to pay off. And yeah, I'm like really close to like debt free now, even after that huge loss that I took. And it's completely changed for the game. Now all we're talking about is, you know, traveling and you know, opening up, you know, hotels and all sorts of stuff just because of this. It's crazy. There's no limit to how much money you can make trading. It's definitely not, if anyone tells you that it's super easy, it's definitely not easy. It's simple if you follow the strategy. You have to really, really put in the work. And, you know, you have to be a student. You have to show up to class and really, really absorb the information if you want to succeed in it, just like anything else. But if you actually spend the time and you show up to PK's classes, you use Delorean, you go over his boot camps that he has recorded in his favorite section, there's no reason why you have to work a day job. Like, there's no reason why you have to do another job if you truly master the skill. But I mean, like, truly master it. Like, I'm not going to make any claims that you're, you know, instantly not going to have to work for anybody. But if you become a student and you're coachable, you're going to do really well. And that's pretty much it. I love the strategy. Been using it. I'll be using it forever. So yeah, much love, PK. Thanks, Greg. Unless you have more questions.
Yeah, I mean, you guys go ahead and drop some ones in the chat for Tycho for, you know, investing his time here this evening to share with all of us. You know, and the reason I wanted to bring Tycho up, you know, we've got PK. He's an educator inside of this academy. He's been trading since 2014. I wanted you guys to hear from one of his students. And like Tycho said, it's not easy. It's simple if you follow the rules, right? It's kind of, you know, the people business and trading, they're very similar. It's, you know, if you can follow instructions and, you know, things will go well for you. But I don't even understand what it is. It's like, I mean, as soon as you involve people in any strategy or you involve people in any business model, things get a little bit more complicated. You know what I mean? So anyways, I just wanted these guys to come on and share with you. So I know there's a lot of new people on the call and you're curious, you know, what is this all about? How does it work? And all I want to do is encourage you, get back with the people that invited you on this call. We wanted to give you a sneak peek. We wanted to share with you one of the strategies inside of the academy. And honestly, one of our mentors, Mr. Patrick Kenny, that's helped a lot of us learn how to become, you know, financially literate, how to develop an investor mindset. And he's also created a strategy that a lot of us use in all the different, you know, sectors inside of the financial markets. You know, I use Delorean for crypto, HFX, you know, Tycho, I believe you use it for a lot of the trading you do. Confirmations. It's a very simple strategy. And we're just so grateful for PK. So I want to thank Tycho. I want to thank PK for investing their time into obviously all of us on this call, our guests on this call. But just know this, you guys, you know, this wasn't developed to be a sales pitch. I hope you caught that. You know what I mean? PK was extremely real with you. And like Tycho said, I couldn't agree more. It's not easy. It's simple, but it takes energy and effort to learn a new skill. And so if you come into this academy, get with the person that brought you on this call. If you come into this academy, the one thing I would encourage you to do, trading is not like a casino. It's not the lottery. If you approach it like that, it's not going to go well for you. But if you approach the markets, if you approach this academy like you want to learn a new skill, you want to develop a new skill, you want to study, you want almost like you're becoming an apprentice to become an electrician or something like that, things will go very, very well for you. So get back with the person that got you onto this call. Drop some 2s in the chat once again for Tycho and Patrick Kenny. I'm going to get this recording out to the group so you guys can share it with even more people. PK, thank you so much for investing your time with us this evening. Tycho, may you guys be blessed, and we'll see y'all real soon. Bye.
Much love, guys. Thank you.